Are we ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Hello, my name is Logan.
I'm Carly.
I'm Taylor. I'm Courtney. And I'm Sierra.
We're the Jimmy Fallon team. When we're going into this, we researched these 5 movies, the Jurassic Park 1 and 2, and then Hunger Games 1 through 3. And then from these movies, we found that they questioned morality, humanity, and the first cause, which led us to a thesis of saying we should bring more, or the Christian God and His words back into society. Next slide, please. In Jurassic Park, there was a lot of first cause references. First off being that Ian Malcolm, which is the guy with the curly hair and the glasses, says this: God creates dinosaurs, God destroys dinosaurs. God creates man, man destroys God, and man creates dinosaurs. And then jokingly, Ellie Sattler replies, dinosaurs destroy man and women inherit the earth. So kind of mocking him and joking with him about that. And then in another scene, which I found really interesting, is one of the dinosaurs sneezes on one of the other kids. And then Tim Murphy, which is the little redhead boy, actually screams out very blatantly and says, God bless you. And he says it very pronunciated. And I found that kind of interesting because he's saying that to a dinosaur, which is a little weird, but whatever. And then as well as they all seem to be evolutionists, so they're all set in their ways. And then for an example of this is Ian Malcolm, once again, says this: if there's one thing the history of evolution has taught us, is that life will not be contained. He as well speaks of moving forward with science is too fast, and explains scientists' excitement for progress and lack of depth to think if they should create dinosaurs. So at one point he actually states that the scientists were so excited about seeing what they could and couldn't do, they didn't sit back and think if they should do it.
So, and then the second movie is called The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and the creator, John Hammond, he created Jurassic Park and then kept a whole bunch of species on a secret island, and they didn't have any boundaries or like fences or anything to keep them contained. And they found that they were flourishing and able to reproduce and live on their own without any vets helping them. So this movie focused more on like what is right and wrong, because these dinosaurs are all by themselves and doing their own thing. And these four people were there to watch them and observe them and see how they were living on their own and how they were doing. And then these 3 people were brought by another group, and they were there to capture the dinosaurs and hurt them so they could sell them for money. And this is what's wrong, because they are destroying what is created, so they ruin everything, and then the whole island will be destroyed.
And then we move from the Jurassic Park franchise into the Hunger Games franchise, where we look at the distinction between District 12 and the Capitol, and there seems to be a clear correlation between right and wrong, the Capitol being wrong and District 12 being right. Using Haymitch as a representative of District 12, there's a line where he's speaking with Katniss and she asks him how to survive, how does she survive the games? And he says, you get people to like you. And there's obvious disdain in his voice regarding the Hunger Games and the brutal slaughtering of individuals. And then you have the Capitol. And for the Capitol, I used Effie as a representative. And her remark, manners, and that's mahogany, to Katniss's attacking Peeta and then nearly taking off Haymitch's hand, shows a dissociated state, very cold, very logical, very separated from pain and empathy, which I kind of thought of as very strange. But you can see that there's a clear idea of what is good and what is wrong, which leads us back to C.L. Lewis's The Law of Nature, that we instinctively know what morals are. And then we have the illogical acts of mercy. The Hunger Games is a survival of the fittest. If we look at this in scientific terms, there shouldn't be any acts of mercy within the Hunger Games. But Peeta and Katniss and various other protagonists throughout the book show mercy at strange points in time. So for example, Katniss is volunteering as tribute. She's not benefited whatsoever. Her survival is not, it would be a danger to her survival to volunteer as tribute. So this kind of counters science's cold, hard logic when it comes to morality. And then we look at character morality, and I kind of chose to dive into Katniss and Peeta. There's a scene at the beginning of the movie where Katniss is speaking with Gale, and she's speaking about her fear of surviving the Hunger Games. And he says, "You know how to hunt," to which she replies, "Animals." And this is obviously indicating that there's a difference between humans and animals. Her killing a human is very, very, very vastly different than her killing an animal, which does not align with Taoism and the 10,000 things, in which it says that humans are no greater or no less than the 10,000 things. But it does align very closely with Christianity's belief that humans are more or something special when compared to animals. And then just throughout the training in the Hunger Games, Peeta and Katniss wrestle with this idea of morality, but they seem to steer clear of certain ideologies and maintain a certain path.
So this brings us into the second Hunger Games, Catching Fire. And along with like Sierra's illogical acts of mercy still play out in the second Hunger Games. And I just found it interesting because all of these illogical acts of mercy are made out of love. And like, so Katniss and Peeta, when they get reaped in the second games, they both go to Haymitch right after and tell Haymitch to save each other's life and not theirs, because they care and love for that other person so much. And Maggie, she's from District 4, and during the reaping for the second game, she volunteers to take this girl's place who has like a mental disorder, I think. But she's a really old, like 96-year-old lady, and she knows she has no chance of living in the games, but she still volunteers herself in place of Annie. And I think that just plays out, like, that's part of our human nature to put ourselves in place of someone that we love. And then character morality. I was focused on President Snow and Katniss mostly. President Snow, he thinks that controlling all the districts by fear is the way to do it, and so he makes the second games purposely to remind everyone that he's still in control after what Katniss pulled in the first games. He found it as a rebellion act, and so he wants to remind everyone that he's still in control and he can drive. That's his drive, is fear. And Katniss, at the end of the Hunger Games, she ends up shooting the force field out with a bow and arrow. And this, David Brooks, he has a quote, and it says, "Pride deludes us into thinking we are the authors of our own lives." And I think that really plays into Katniss's role, because she is extremely prideful, and she does whatever she feels. And at the moment, even though she thought that shooting the force field out was the right thing to do, it ended up in a war among all the districts.
So this leaves the districts and the capital in a state of war. So we're going to discuss how this affects both the capital as well as the rebels. So as far as President Snow still very much remains the same as far as his morality goes. In many ways, he believes in the I decide mentality, and really feels that the world revolves around him. All of his choices, really, and actions don't really have any bounds. He really just does whatever he feels like. To him, life is just a game. Towards the end of the movie, after war, and in terms of war, he says anyone could see the game was won at that point. So basically, he sees all of life and war just as nothing but a game. He very much believes in a master morality, and uses this to control the citizens. So basically, he sees the main human factors, or the things that make us human, as fear, love, and hope. He once says, "It's the things we love most that destroy us." I feel like this says a lot about the power of love if loving someone can be your downfall. After he says this, he hijacks Peeta and basically brainwashes him to be a weapon against Katniss. This fear that he uses ends up being so strong that Katniss actually has to put herself in danger to save him, so that neither of them is killed. Another quote that he says is, "Hope is the only thing more powerful than fear," which I feel also speaks a lot about humanity. So now we're going to talk about the rebels and Katniss, as well as President Coin. So Katniss also believes very much in the I decide mentality. She really makes her own decisions. She makes her own fate. But unlike a lot of the other characters, she is driven by her own underlying sense of morality. So more than anyone else, she always feels obligated to do what is morally right. Katniss, as well as the rebels, have very much of a slave morality. And this quote, it says, "Today a freed Panem will watch more than just a mere spectacle. We are gathered to witness a historic moment of justice. Today the greatest friend to the revolution will fire the shot to end all wars. May her arrow signify the end of tyranny and the beginning of a new era." So this really speaks for their values of justice, freedom, and equality, which again play into that slave morality. Coin also has that morality on the surface, but in reality, that's not really what she believes in. In the end of the movie, to end the war, she ends up killing innocent children to pin Snow as the monster. This seals the fate of Snow and ultimately ends in his death, as well as hers. So, in the end, Katniss really makes everything right, and there's a happy ending, and she ends up killing both Coin, who is corrupt, and leaving Snow to be killed by the people. So why is it that Snow and President Coin can recognize that killing children is wrong unless they're the one doing the killing? So I believe that this speaks a lot for humanity and morality. There's obviously things that are right and there's things that are wrong, but when we're put in that I decide mentality, it gives us the option to choose what we want to believe is right or wrong and ignore the consequences and ignore the guilt. So to wrap it all up, today we talked over the big questions of what is humanity, what is morality, and what is the first cause. So in Jurassic Park, we touched base with what was the first cause, and in that movie, God and whatnot were just mocked. Humans are seen as replacing God. And then in the Hunger Games, there's really no mention of God at all. In both, however, there is remnants of Christianity, and those are kind of where the protagonist characters come from, and the ones who end up setting things right and doing the right thing. So basically what we believe is that in order to prevent the demise of our society, we need to go back to our Christian values and not delude ourselves into believing that we can choose what is right or wrong.
Thank you.